When you're a modern day man, this world is designed to break your mind and it's designed to break you spiritually. You see, a lot of men today are waking up. They're understanding that they're not wanted. They're understanding that they can't really depend on nobody because everybody that you depend on is going to have some reason to get rid of you. It's going to have some reason or some excuse to try to destroy you and try to invalidate you, to try to break you down. They're going to think and say that you're not good enough. They're going to put you in situations in which it's just mind boggling and it's mind breaking and it's exhausting. It's exhausting being a modern day man. But you're going to learn very quick the older you get that you can't really depend on anybody. And especially, friends, family, people that you randomly meet, your co-workers. Nobody has your best interest as a modern man. Everybody wants to see you fall. Everybody wants to see you squirming at your feet. Everybody wants to see you in defeat. Nobody wants to see you in a top position. So you know what? You got to develop a mindset where it's all about yours. It's all about getting yours. Do anything to get out the 9 to 5 rat race. I don't care if you have to write a book, learn more coding, learn IT, whatever it is. Do whatever it takes so you can stay away from people, because people in this day and age, they don't like modern men. They don't like regular average Joes. You go to work every day, they're going to make your life a living hell. You go to school and go to a physical classroom, you got to deal with Chad and Tyrone getting all the girls and dealing with the girls looking at you and frowning. You don't want to deal with that crap. We have a limited lifespan in this world, a limited time where we can, quote unquote, be free between work and between school and things of that nature. But this world, it sees men and say, a lot of men are quitting the workforce, or a lot of men are becoming neat or hikikomori. A lot of men are not participating in society. Why would you participate in a society that despises you? Why would you care about a nation that leads your soul to obliteration? Why? It makes no sense. And you're going to learn this as you get older when the getting gets tough, when it gets really rough, and when you get down in the mud, when you get down in them trenches, you're going to notice who's going to be in your circle and who's not. You're going to be in a bad position, right? And then people who are supposed to have your back are going to be the main ones stabbing you in the back. They're going to be the main ones saying, oh, you're this age and you don't have that. You're this age and you work here and you do this and that. And they're going to try to put you down. And you know what's bad about these people is that as soon as you make it, they'll be the first ones to try to be in your corner. But let's be real here. This world is not conducive or designed for us to be happy. Look around. Look at your life right now. I guarantee you can name about 10 things in your life that you wish you could change. 10. And a lot of these things are outside of your control. You can't control how you look like. That's one of the most important and fundamental and essential factors into having a good life is how you look like. And you're going to work your entire life working at jobs you despise, around people who you despise even more. And guess what? They're going to be like, well, that's just life. No, that's not just life, because not every single body had to go through hardships in order to become successful. That's the secret truth right there. They tell the masses that you have to go through hell. You have to struggle. You have to do all this crap, go through hell just to prevail. And that's not true. I know so many people here on YouTube who some of these people never had a regular job. They went from being a person in their room, neat hikikomori, making videos, to multimillionaires. Look at Asmund Gold, They can say any type of things that flagrantly break YouTube's terms of service, and they still don't get banned. People don't troll them. People don't mess with them. No one's going to try to mess with Asmund Gold. He shows his house, and if you ever watched that video of Asmund Gold where it shows his house looks like wow. He got all types of just. It's absolutely repulsive, but he's still a multimillionaire. He can get a mansion if he wants. He can get any car he wants, but nobody's going to fixate on him or try to attack him. They're just going to leave him alone. And in this world, man, they like to pick on the people that don't bother nobody. You can be at your job. You can be the person in your family that's quiet. You try to stay away from everybody because the more people you're around, there's a high likelihood that there's going to be problems. There's going to be drama. There's going to be things that you don't want to be around. There's a reason why people lock themselves in their room. There's a reason why people don't want to go to work or whatever. It's not because somebody's lazy. It's because people are crazy. You know, you may go to work one day and some crazy person may snap, and then next thing you know, there's uh, neutralizations and target disseminations, that take place, and then you may get caught up in that crap. So what I'm saying is this: you're going to have to work. You're going to have to go to school. You're going to have to get your degree. You're going to have to do that because that's what the system wants. The system wants your attention. The system doesn't want your ascension. It wants your attention. And when it has your attention, it feeds off your negative energetic manifestational frequency. It feeds off your emotions. When you're angry that you have to wake up early in the morning and go to that job you don't like, that's feeding off these invisible entities. And then you go to your job, and then your boss is in a bad mood. That puts everybody else in a bad mood. Your coworkers are talking crap, and you got to do the same remedial things all the time. You wake up, go to the 9 to 5, do the same exact thing every single day. It's monotonous. And recently I've been watching these Japanese videos, these South Korean vlogs and stuff, and it shows like people that, girls and males, it shows that people are just tired. They're tired of working. And it's not that they're lazy or anything like that, is that they want to do more. I was watching this one Japanese girl, and she was talking about how she just want to just take pictures. She want to go out in nature and have like a little photography business. And every time whenever she gets off work, it's usually too late, and it's usually nighttime, so she can't go out into the forest and like these nice beautiful places where she can just take pictures of flowers and pictures of different types of things and environments where they look better in the day, because she has work all the time, and her work is just, she says, it's not soul fulfilling. And that's the problem with this world. They want you to comply. Why should modern men even put up with the nonsense of trying to find a girlfriend or find a wife? When when your girlfriend, your wife probably has an OnlyFans. She probably has a promiscuous past before she even got with you. And the reason why she got with you is probably because, you're the stable option. You see, when women are young, they have the whole world in their hands. When a woman is young, she's beautiful. She's in her prime of youth. Everybody wants to impregnate her. But that good guy who's on his way, he's going to college, he's doing all the right things, going to college, got a job, he got his car, he got all these things. But the only problem with him is that he's not traditionally attractive, and he's a good guy. Women don't like that. A woman's going to pick a guy who's handsome and a badass every single time over a guy who's traditionally unattractive but stable. But when she gets in her 30s, when she gets about 30, 35, she's going to be like, damn, none of those Chads and none of those Tyrones took her seriously. They just wanted a little runt in the sheets. You know what I mean? They wanted a little sack in the hay. But they didn't take that girl seriously. And then she's going to start regretting. And then she's going to come to that guy who's stable, to that guy who's a regular guy. And then what makes me angry is that a lot of these guys accept that. They accept girls who've been treating them like crap for years. And then magically, when they become successful, when that girl, gets off the cock carousel, now they want to take that girl in and treat her like a queen and treat her like a princess. That's a huge mistake. Treat these women the same way they treated you your entire life. Don't give them a damn a parachute. Don't be Captain Save a whore. Don't do that, because that's going to create thorns in your side. It's going to rip you. It's going to destroy you inside, because you may be trying to hit it from the back or whatever whenever she allows it. And you're going to think about, why does this feel so loose? Because Chad and Tyrone was banging that throughout her whole 20s. And you're in your 30s or you're in your late 20s and you just now trying to get experience with females. You're supposed to have experience with females when you're young. That's how you build that confidence. You're supposed to be young. You're not supposed to be old and decrepit, because you're past your prime. After 25, bro, you start to get past your prime. When you enter your 30s, bro, you're really past your prime. If you don't have any type of grind, any type of way to try to formulate an economic plan to escape the 9 to 5 rat race, you're going to be trapped for the rest of your days. There is no hope. There is no hope for this system. The only way to fix this system is to let the system crash and burn. So what I'm saying is, try to find a way to earn money and think outside the box. Try to find a way to earn money outside the traditional ways, because that's what's going to save you. A job is not going to make you rich, but it's going to provide you with, quote unquote stability, right? But is that even true nowadays, where people need 2 or 3 jobs to even try to maintain? And then you got to understand, this world is built on competition. So if you're just a regular guy out there, you don't look good, you're not attractive, you don't have any family, you don't have any friends, you're just a regular average Joe, and you're trying to survive, you're trying to just go up to an interview and go to a job or whatever, and you don't got no connections, the chances of you getting that job or the chances of you progressing and becoming a millionaire or successful are zero. And if you don't have any type of millionaires or people that are successful around you, how are you just going to just do that yourself? You know, go on the internet and look it up. There's things on the internet you can't look up, you know, because if so, everybody would be rich and successful. How many people will want to slave for somebody else until the day that they go to the grave? Where you can't even enjoy your life. You can't even enjoy the things that make you happy. You just bought a brand new PlayStation 5, let's say, but you can't even play it because you're so tired when you come from wage slaving. Everybody that I talk to, they feel drained. They feel insane. And that's the reason. And that's a system that's orchestrated for your own destruction and corruption. You have to be you have to be the villain, man. You have to be the guy that goes to the dark side. Because when you stay on the side of lightness, you're trying to help everybody, you're trying to smile, you're trying to do that. People are going to take advantage of that and they're going to screw you over. You're going to have to start being a little selfish because people are selfish towards you. When you stop being a bleeding heart and when you stop trying to be that good person, watch how things in your life change for the better. Because the people that run the world, you know, they're the most evil, sick, vindictive people on the planet. And these are the people that hold power. These are the people that women are attracted to. You ever see those guys that be in prison and they'll get all this fan mail from women? You know, like this guy would be like a serial neutralizer, and women will send him all types of, you know, dirty pics, fan mail, letters saying how much they love him and all that, and they think about him, they fantasize about them. It's like, what normal mind would fantasize about somebody who's a serial neutralizer and think about engaging in sexual promiscuity with that person? Meanwhile, you got a good man right there with a good job. He has a good foundation. He has a good mind, a good head on his shoulders. And yet he gets ignored. He gets ignored for the person that is an evil, wicked, sadistic, twisted person. That's not right. And in this world, it tries to break down who you really are. If you're a man and you don't have nobody, and you're emotionally detached, you're angry, you're sad, you're miserable, you feel like life is going nowhere, they're going to say, well, it's your fault. You know, they're going to blame you and accuse you for how the world is. They're going to accuse you for not having those opportunities that could have led to you being economically stabilized. You have to know the right people. If you're making music, if you're doing anything that's creative, entrepreneurship, you have to know the right people that can help you get on. Because when you just try to upload random stuff on the internet, you may build a small audience, maybe. But the fact is, if you want to become taken seriously, you get to know somebody that's already doing what you want. You know, in this world, it's designed to not want you to get ahead. It's designed to make young men feel like they don't matter. You feel invisible by your family. You feel invisible by insanity, you know, or visible. You feel invisible by your family and friends, and you feel visible to insanity, meaning that insanity sees you. Insanity is your companion. You know, depression, loneliness, isolation, desolation, you know, soul obliteration. All these things you got to take in consideration and understand what you're facing in this world. You're facing complete spiritual annihilation. There's something that's pulling the strings behind the scenes that don't want us to have anything. There's something behind this, you know? There's something definitely behind this. This is not random, how life is. This is designed by some evil being, point blank, period. You know, if you were a god, if you had infinite power, would you design a world like this? Where people who want to sing for a living, somebody wants to paint for a living, somebody wants to take photography for a living. You know, they want to become a photographer. They want to go to different places around the world and take beautiful pictures. But yet they're stuck at some office somewhere where they're stuck in all day, typing on the computer, you know, getting bad back pain, developing heart disease with all the food that you have to eat, you know, that has all these chemical compositions inside of it that puts plaque in your arteries, so you can just, you know, probably have a stroke one day or a brain aneurysm, and you're bored out of your mind. You're barely making it, and then you see people that just out of nowhere they make a YouTube channel, boom, they blow up and become some damn millionaire, you know, within a year. You know, I've seen it happen. You know, and they want to say that men are the problem. It's your fault that you're alone. It's your fault that that girl doesn't like you. It's your fault that this, that, and the third. Now, some men, they deserve to be alone. Some men are evil, wicked, and sadistic. Some people are just evil. People that troll around on people who they don't know, people that fixate on somebody who they never met in real life. These are the people who deserve to be alone and isolated for the rest of their days. You got people in your own family that hate you. They don't like you. But if you have a YouTube channel and they find it, they're going to be watching every single one of your videos trying to break down and analyze your mind, thinking they know you. Meanwhile, these same people will go to religious services and they'll still be evil, sadistic, twisted bastards. And these same people have a problem with their own sexuality. But it's best to stay away from negative people and negative emotions. But the problem is we live in a society that doesn't have that much damn variety when it comes to innovation and creation. Most people are sheep. Most people want to just go with the flow and just be, wage slaves into the grave. It takes a creative mind to master a creative design. When you're isolated, you don't have that confidence, you don't have that good woman in your life, it's going to break you down. And it's a brutal way to live, man. It's a very brutal way to live when you're alone. We don't have that nice female. But the problem is there's certain guys that get it and certain guys that never will. Some guys will never, ever, 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 ever find love in their life. And they'll always be alone. They'll never have that girl to make that nanny foam and make her moan, It's absolutely brutal. You see, being a good guy in today's world is going to get you dealt with. You're going to have to join the dark side. You're going to have to become a Sith Lord. You're going to have to start being more selfish and thinking about yourself, because when you were a good person and you were nice, trying to help everybody, they crapped on you. Now it's time for you to focus on yourself, build, and do not mess with those people ever again in life.